Paul Manafort is chairman of the Trump campaign. Good morning.
Good morning, Sean.
You've heard all these similarities. How do you explain them?
Well, there are not that many similarities. There are a couple of phrases.
Word by word in a number of places.
It's basically three places in the speech, and it's fragments of words. She spoke in front of 35 million people yesterday. She knew what she was doing. And she would never crib from another speech without acknowledging that she was quoting somebody else. I mean, so,
which is not about intent, though. When you just look at the speech, what do you see?
Well, if it's not about intent, then I don't know what we're talking about. I mean, if it was something that was lifted subconsciously, then why are we even talking about it?
Well, we're asking you. How do you explain it?
Well, what I'm explaining to you is that there was nothing that she did in that speech that she thought was anybody's words but herself.
Melania Trump said yesterday that you can't have a Trump event without drama or excitement. And so did you think on day two, though, Paul, that you'd be using the words Melania Trump, Michelle Obama in the same sentence? And that's what everyone's focusing on.
Well, and that's the mistake. I mean, her speech last night was a very poignant presentation of the person she knew, and really of her coming to America and what it meant to her to become an American citizen, and how important her husband's vision and plans for making this country a better place to live are to her and to her family. That's what we should be talking about, because that was the message. That was the message of 99.9% of the speech.
No, I think everybody agrees that the speech were her words, her experience, rather. I just think that because it was nearly identical, that's what everybody's.
But we're talking about probably 30 words, and the words are compassion.
It was 58 words that appear to be 58 words that appear to be lifted.
That probably includes the, commas, and everything else. I mean, we're talking about words like compassion, love of family, respect. These are not words that are unique words that belong to the Obama.
Paul, there's a larger question here. Yeah. Did anyone look at the speech? I mean, the point that has been made is that how could something like this have happened? Well, is there any vetting of the speeches? You're the campaign manager.
And honestly, I don't remember what Michelle Obama said 8 years ago in precise word presentations. So no, nobody. Sure, people looked at the speech, but frankly, this was her vision of that she wanted to communicate about her husband.
Will Donald Trump be saying you're fired to anybody? About the speech?
I don't think Donald Trump feels that there's anything to fire about somebody.
But let me just make sure I understand this. Did she write this, or did speechwriters write this?
This represents her views.
Okay, but did she sit down and say, this is how I feel, and speechwriters then put it into a speech? No, or did she sit there at a computer and write it herself?
It was a collaboration, and how much she wordsmithed, I'm not sure, but the words of her speech reflect her feelings for her husband, her country, and her family. And 52 words or whatever 58. You said it was out of 13 or 1,400 words.
How many is it, Nora? What was the highlight of the convention for you last night?
Melania Trump in her speech. I thought
the crowd certainly loved it. So there you go. I mean, if you were talking to the crowd in the hall, there was a huge cheer for her and applause. Right. Let me turn to what he's going to say. You have said, and a lot of attention on this, including a big front page story in the New York Times, that Richard Nixon's Miami speech in 1968, when she talked about the silent majority and law and order, is a template for what...
No, I didn't say it was a template, but I said he's looked at a lot of speeches, and that was one of the speeches he looked at. And I've said that the crisis facing America in 1968, very similar to the crisis facing the United States today, because of the same failed kind of leadership internationally and domestically.
Yesterday in an interview, Hillary Clinton said to Charlie Rose, you two have met before, she said that she called Donald Trump the most dangerous presidential candidate in history. How do you respond to that word, dangerous?
Well, I find it ironic that the woman who has destabilized the world during her term as Secretary of State and allowed the rise of ISIS could be calling Donald Trump dangerous. I mean, the world is a dangerous place today because of her failed policies and because of what she and Obama did, in putting the United States in a position where it apologizes for it being a strong leader in the world community of nations, and her policies, were such that the Middle East, Asia are all destabilized today. So for her to call, Donald Trump dangerous is pretty ironic.
All right, thank you, Paul Manafort.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you
for joining us this morning.